Hi, and welcome to another edition of Mike and Sarah's Travel Adventures. We are in the Maldives. It is our last day. This is just a vlog to go through everything else that we found out and tips for you if you are coming to this wonderful place. So let's start, I think, with the dining experience because I haven't covered that yet in any of the other vlogs. So you have three restaurants. You have the Donny restaurant, which is the main buffet style restaurant. The dining area is not air conditioned, although the food area is. They seem to have plenty of choice. We definitely didn't have any problems at all in finding a good selection of food. 3 meal times. Yeah, very good. Very good. Run of the mill buffet style. Lots of different choices. We aren't gluten-free or anything at all like that, so I couldn't tell you if they cover gluten-free, although it looks like they probably do. So there's two other restaurants that you have to book via the app. Now, they only book 3 days in advance, so when you first get here, you log into the app with your details, and you will try and book something on the app, and it will say you can't book any of the restaurants. That's because all the spots for the next couple of days have been taken. At midnight, the next day is released, and then you can then book, and there's 4 meal times. You've got 6:30, 7:15, and I think it's 8 and 8:30, and that's all booked via the app on those other two restaurants. The main buffet style restaurant, you just go in whenever it is between your meal times, ask for a table for two, and they'll bring you over, ask you for a drink. You can have a glass of wine in there. The white and the red isn't great, but the rosé is all right. There are better wines out than your wine connoisseur, I'd imagine, would probably think it's vinegar. It did the job. So the other restaurants are called Sophia, which is an Italian restaurant. Now, both of these bookable restaurants are an odd experience and probably not what you expect. So Sophia restaurant is, you go in and it's a buffet style starter, or appetizers they call it, and that is pizza, pasta, all your traditional Italian dishes. You then have a choice of 3 or 4 main courses, which you ask them when you go in there. I had the lasagna both times we went there, very nice. Couldn't really fault it. And then it's the same sweet or pudding selection as in the main restaurant. It's not what you think. The Sophia restaurant is air conditioned. It is a different experience to going into the main dining hall. It is worth doing, but don't expect silver service. Things like that. By all means, book it, go in, it's worth it. But don't be too disappointed if you don't get in every other day. The other restaurant is a beef steakhouse. We had a steak in there, and that was very, very nice. That isn't buffet style. It's not air conditioned. Well, it did appear to be cooler than the main restaurant. So you choose you have 2 courses before you have your main course. Probably the best way to put it. And they just bring them over, and then you choose your main. There's a salad, and I think there's a meat selection of barbecue ribs or something like that as your starters and your appetizers, and then you have your main. The sweet selection again is limited, but again it's worth booking, worth going to. The steak we had was really, really nice. Probably the favourite restaurant of ours. But definitely worth doing. Just remember, at midnight the next 3 days ahead will allow you to book on the app. So when you get there and you don't get a restaurant and you're in the buffet for the first 3 days, don't be disappointed. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be. At midnight the next one, and they're not open every day either. So you do find that sometimes, for instance, so Monday night the steakhouse was actually closed. So okay. So that covers dining experiences, really. Couple of things that I didn't mention before to do with your room that you're in. First thing is, what you need to try to do is trying to avoid to bring sand back into your room, especially if you're on the ground floor ones where you just walk onto the beach. So what we've done, and this tip did come from a Facebook group that we belong to. That is, you've got two bins in your apartment. Use one of the bins, fill it a third full of water, and just leave it outside. So when you come in, you can give your feet a little rinse off, and then place a towel just inside your patio door, so you can come in before you walk in to your area. You can dry your feet off, and that minimises the sand. That minimises bringing your sand in. There is seats and tables outside. I didn't show that on my previous vlog. You get 2 seats and you get a nice metal little table to take with you, which is nice to sit out there in the shade under your on your patio area, as it were. We have done a couple of excursions while we've been here, so there's a lot of snorkeling, and very, very good snorkeling on this island. It's worth bringing your own mask, but if you've not snorkeled before, as we hadn't before we come in, it is worth doing. It's absolutely stunning. My advice: bring your own full face mask, and bring yourself something to wear on your feet. If you're going out yourself, because it can be a bit rocky, and there's things just under there called sea cucumbers, which you don't want to step on. That can cause you to have reasonably nasty fever for 24 hours. You don't want that for the sake of just. So be careful where you tread, and you can see it's that clear. But wear some of these specialised shoes for going into the water with. You won't need to bring your towels. There is plenty of towels here, and you can ask for more as well. So don't bother bringing any towels at all. So the bookings that we went on to. So we booked a snorkeling trip. It was called Snorkeling Plus, which go out in a boat for 30 to 45 minutes out to a reef, out into the middle of the Indian Ocean. The water is still warm out there, and you have a swim around the reef. We saw stingray on the bottom, as well as many other lovely fish. It's nice and safe. If you're worried about going, you have to wear a life vest. No matter how good a swimmer you are, it's the law, you have to wear it. So you're not going to sink. They will offer you fins or flippers, whatever we're going to call them. Take them, because it's a reasonable swim, and you will thank me for accepting the fins. They just give them to you there anyway, not a problem. You can wear your mask, or they will supply the mask for you as well. But it's a mask of goggles, not a full face mask. You'll probably find a full face mask better. We definitely do. And when we got here, we went out into the water just outside our apartment here, and we practiced out there before we went on to any of these excursions. You can snorkel there in easily 1 or 2 meters of water. So if you're not happy with it, you can just literally stand up, but have a good practice before you go and do it. We also managed to win one of the various music competitions, and we actually managed to go out with a marine biologist who he nicknamed Aquaman, and he took us out to the house reef, and we saw an octopus there, another stingray, lots and lots of other fish. We saw if you know the movie, we saw lots of Nemo and Dory's. That was another brilliant excursion as well. Again, you got a life vest on. They provide you with everything that you want, and he actually stops, tells you what it is. And this guy is actually growing coral here as well. So it's worth going and having a chat to him, and try and book an excursion with him, because it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, very informative. In fact, we didn't realise before we got here, but what you should be trying to get is some coral safe sun cream, because apparently the suntan cream people wear isn't safe for the coral. So, and we didn't know that. We'll definitely be getting some in future. But going into sun cream from there then, So we basically have gone through, we've been here 10 days and we've gone through, I personally have gone through 2.5 bottles of Factor 50. I'm not one of those people that go and lay on the beach all day. I'd much rather sit there with a book, listening to some music or an audio book, sitting in the shade. That's more or less me. So I went through 2.5 to 3 bottles of Factor 50. Sarah went through 2 bottles of Factor 50, I think, and then she stepped down to a Factor 30. But the temperatures here are about 30 degrees. This is March time. It is warm. It is humid. So as far as clothes are concerned, loose-fitting, baggy clothes. Ladies, the evening events are in sand. There's no point you bringing your high heels. They're going to sink into the sand. Many a lady is sitting there with flat shoes on, even though they've got high heels on. It really isn't worth it. So people basically wear baggy top, pair of shorts, and some flip-flops. It's really all you're going to need. Anything which is tight-fitting, going to get uncomfortable because it is warm and humid. That's more or less it for our Maldives adventure. We are flying home early hours of tomorrow morning. We think we leave here at about 6 o'clock in the morning. What we're planning to do is a sports bar here, and the sports bar is open 24 hours, and it does, oddly enough, show sports. So we can go and get a coffee there, etc. So leaving then, you have to do your Amuga form. You had to do an Amuga form to come in. You have to do the same form to leave. And you have to do that, I think it's something like 96 hours before. So do that. 24 hours before, we've actually done our BA check-in already. We've already got our boarding passes. That'll be worth doing as well. That will save you time. But we're actually leaving on the seaplane. Now, our reasoning behind this is it took us a reasonable amount of time from arriving at Malé Airport to getting here. Was a good 2 or 3 hours probably, because we had to take an internal flight and then a boat trip over to here. So we decided on the way back, and it's costing us $150 each to go on the seaplane, which will be an experience in itself, and it leaves a good 2 or 3 hours later. So we should get an extra few hours kip. What we're told, we haven't received it yet, we get a note under the door to tell us all the situation about us leaving. So what we understand happens is we get given a time when they're going to come and collect our cases. They collect the cases on the room, we believe, and they put them directly onto the seaplane. When we get off the seaplane, we have to grab our cases and go through the airport, because obviously people are going in different directions. And that hopefully will all be smoothly. Everything's been very well organised. We booked this excursion through TUI, and we actually spoke to our TUI rep yesterday, not for any reason other than to say hello. There's plenty going on here. You won't get bored. There are pedalos here. You can hire jet skis. There's other excursions to say you can go snorkeling. If you've got your own snorkel, you can go snorkeling yourself. If you hire their snorkel, you're in a restricted snorkeling area. But if you are snorkeling around here, just be safe. Make sure you know what you're doing. It's very easy when you're snorkeling to have your head down too much, not know where you're going. So at least every minute, head up, see where you're going. Otherwise, you could end up quite at the sea quite a lot, or in an area where you're not comfortable. So do the snorkeling, but be safe. And that's about it from us. Sarah is here. She's just spending all the time in the sun. That's it. I hope you enjoyed these vlogs. I will be doing a post, without saying anything, just of a few pictures of the dining areas, etc., etc. Please look out for that if you want to see that. And come to the Maldives, come to the atolls. Oh my God, it is amazing. It is absolutely paradise here. Oh, one last thing. It does rain from time to time. You won't need an umbrella. They supply it. It's in your wardrobe. Thank you. Ta-ta for now.